You may have played poker, but playing poker in Texas is a different animal. This is the Texas Poker Podcast with Tyler and Clint.
Hello, this is the Texas Poker Podcast. I'm Tyler. This is Clint.
What's up, y'all?
We are back.
Back with some poker. So if I remember right, we ended last podcast on a cliffhanger, if I remember right.
Yeah, I guess let me start off with. Well, actually, here let me actually have some of the notes on this session.
Okay, remind me, what was the cliffhanger? What happened on the last podcast?
So I ended up playing 5-5-10 three-handed PLO after getting stuck horribly in Hold'em. Right.
And you are someone who almost never plays PLO.
Almost never, yeah.
Really never studies PLO.
Oh, definitely don't study.
So
no, we're not going to study.
You've just gotten crushed on the 1-3 Hold'em game, and you decide to go play 5-5-10 PLO, a game that you openly admit you don't like and you don't study.
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I don't like when people tank forever on whenever you play the reverse button. I hate that. That's what really I find pretty annoying.
Oh, agreed. That's what drives me crazy about it as well. If PLO went a little faster, I would definitely. I do want to learn it a little bit better, but I have way more of a desire to learn it better if people would kind of, like you say, move a little bit quicker.
Yeah, but let me first start off with some Hold'em hands for you, just to kind of. Well, oddly, I only recorded kind of the good hands, but there were definitely some bad ones in there. But let me hit you with this one. I make it 15 pre-flop with pocket queens in early position. I get 3 callers. The flop comes jack of spades, deuce of spades, 7 of hearts. The blinds check to me. I bet 50.
How many people are in the hand again?
3 callers, so 4.
Okay, 15, 30, 40. Okay, I gotcha.
I bet 50. Let's see. I get 1 caller. Everyone else folds. The guy to my left calls.
I like your sizing here. Like, this is something where I think usually you should size down, but I think on this exact how this is played, a jack is calling regardless. I think this is kind of a good exploitative to bet a little bit bigger here. So, nice. Okay.
The turn is the 5 of hearts. I jam all in for 225.
What was the flop again?
So it's jack of spades, deuce of spades, 7 of hearts, and now it's 5 of hearts.
Okay, I like this. Okay, I like this.
And the guy goes deep into the tank, all the way in the tank, right? He's thinking and thinking.
How much was your jam for again? 225. So you bet 51, and there was about 6. Okay, so it's just over pot.
Yep.
Okay.
So
yeah, I like all of this.
So he's tanking forever, and he turns his hand over to show me what he's tanking with.
It's got to be a jack, right?
I could give you a million guesses. You're never going to guess jack deuce offsuit.
2 pair.
2 pair, yep. And he says, well, you could have a set of 7s. You could have a set of 5s. You could have jack 7. That's what I'm worried about. And he mucks it face up. And asks me to show. So I showed him pocket queens. Because I'm sitting there counting my outs. Because I know he's calling. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm in bad shape. I'm like counting my outs. I'm like, well,
2 times once.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take you long to count those out.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah. Well, no, I had what's it called? I could hit a queen, right? I could hit.
Oh, that's true. You can do a better 2 pair.
Could hit a 7, a 5.
A 7 or 5, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like sitting there trying to figure that out, and I'm like, this math I'm not liking any of. But he folds face up. And then he asked me, what would I do if I was in his situation? I told him I would snap call, beat me into the pot. I told him if you play jack deuce and flop jack deuce and lose to jack 7, that's just how you go out sometimes.
I mean, This hand is so shocking. You told it to me before, and I was still shocked when you told me he had Jack Deuce just now. That is one of the weirdest things I've ever heard of someone playing Jack Deuce, flopping 2 pair, and folding that turn on. I mean, like I say, he basically has the nuts here.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And it was funny because I told him, I was like, yeah, just a few weeks ago at Cypress Poker, I had, what was it, Jack 2 or Jack 6 in the big blind versus Queen Jack. And the guy rivered the queen. I told him sometimes if you flop 2 pair with it and get it all in, that's just, you just seal your fate. You just got to, live and die by the Jack Deuce.
God almighty.
I got to see out of the big blind and flop 2 pair, but still.
So shocking. I mean, obviously it's shocking that guy didn't raise your flop bet, and then super shocking that he did that. Okay, this is what I was thinking when you bet that flop. I was like, well, if you bet smaller on the turn, you're more likely to get a call because and then the money's kind of wrapped up in for the river no matter what. So, good job not using my strategy because you don't want that wrapped in there. You don't want Jack Deuce getting $75 to win $300 on the river.
Yeah. Like, we're going to go great odds. How many? You're going to win this about 10%. Yeah. So, but here's a hand that I was actually pretty happy how I played this one. So there's this guy who's been going crazy, showing bluffs, showing good hands, really kind of, I don't want to say getting on the table's nerves, but kind of getting on the table's nerves.
I mean, Christ, sounds like your twin.
No, different type of nerves. I mean, just like, or different type of getting, like, different way. Like, just being really loud.
Okay, yeah, you're not loud. You bluff and show, and you kind of look like an asshole when you do it, but you're never loud or boisterous about it,
Right. No, I just pray to God they hope they mix me and you up and go beat you up. So, so I have ace queen again, early position. I love playing these hands in early position. Ace queen suited. I make it 15. I get 3 callers again. Very weird. But, so I get 3 callers. The flop comes ace, 8, 4, rainbow.
Beautiful flop.
This time I size up, oddly. I bet 60.
You see, so it's 15, 30. So you bet pot?
Yes. There had to have been a flush draw out here for this to make any sort of sense.
Yeah, this is a gigantic bet for this pot. I'm not sure what. I definitely am sizing down less than this. I was thinking 30 or whatever, but okay, you bet 60.
Yep. And then I instantly get jammed on for 275.
Okay, you bet 60. You get jammed on for 275. I don't know. This is 8. What was the flop again?
Ace, 8, 4.
With no flush draw?
There had to have been a flush draw for my bet size to make any sense. So we're going to assume there's a flush draw. I didn't write it down just because you'll see after this. I was in the middle of talking.
I don't love this because when I down bet, people are more likely to attack those down bets. When you bet pot here and get raised, this shows a tremendous amount of strength. But if there's a flush draw here, there's no 2 pair. I mean, I guess I just call this.
All right. So when I say he jammed for 275, he had like $30 more behind.
Okay.
And I asked how much, because I'm just assuming this is an automatic snap call. And then he said, he goes, oh, I don't have much more behind. I don't have that much more behind. So I'm thinking, like, this seems like, all the strength to me.
Yeah, agreed.
And I was sitting there thinking, like, well, what am I, like, is this just ace king all day is what I was thinking. Like, I hope maybe the guy's not bad enough just to flat ace king behind me.
I don't think ace, yeah, well, I was thinking more like a set was what I was thinking, I was scared of.
That's what I was thinking, just that would flat, right? And then I fold face down, and he goes, "See, I'll even show you because you made a good fold." He showed pocket aces.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's not what I was thinking.
Yeah. And I had ace queen of diamonds on that one as well. Had ace queen of diamonds, I think, both times. But no, I had queens last hand. Never mind. But yeah, very surprising.
Good fold there. I don't know that I don't know that I can fold for that on that flop. Like if there's two pairs or straights or something like that, but god dang, that's was on such a dry flop. Even the flush draw. I mean, I guess on the dry flops are a little bit scarier because what are they betting with there? But very good fold. I think I'll lose quite a bit of money there.
Yeah, but that one was interesting for sure. And then I got it all in. This was sad. This was the other time I had ace queen in this session. I didn't write the notes here on this exact phone, but I had ace queen of diamonds versus ace 10. I'm on the button straddle, right? This guy makes it 30. I re-raise to 100.
Question here, button straddle. Okay. How much was the straddle to?
It was $6 button straddle.
Limpers. Okay, I was trying to figure out how you got to 30. Okay, he goes 30, you make it 100.
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone folds, goes back to him. He calls the 100. The flop comes like deuce, 5, 7, 1 diamond. He checks to me. I go all in for like 250 for like just over pot, thinking I'm still repping aces, kings, all that. Yeah.
Okay. This is I think this is a pretty valid play. I think my immediate thought was to down bet here. So, but it was, if it's 200, let's say there's a couple calls I'm seeing, let's say about 220, 80, 160, 240, 75. I was thinking about betting 75 here, but this is kind of an interesting play. Like you say, you do have all the overpairs. Here, the problem being is I don't think it matters what you're repping, because if he has an overpair, I mean, if he gets here with pocket eights, like, I mean, is he going to get this flop and fold to a pot-sized bet, basically? I mean, obviously, weird shit happens. We just saw someone fold two pair. But I think it's kind of hard to get that fold.
He calls with ace 10 offsuit. So now we're playing this massive pot, ace queen versus ace 10. Bangs a 10 right on the turn after all the money goes in to felt me.
I mean, I will say this. This game sounds fucking phenomenal if you're getting this call from ace 10. Like, I don't know what in God's name he could be hoping to have that you have.
Yeah, ace queen apparently.
Yours was a bluff, and you were still ahead.
Yeah.
You didn't realize you were betting for value.
Yep. Couldn't beat this game though. Couldn't beat it. So too tough. So the game breaks. So this is, and at this point I'm spitting mad. You know what I mean? Because just time after time been losing.
Oh, 100%. Because you've gotten in some weird spots.
So now I think we're buried in the game for like 1,000, 1,500, something like that.
Okay.
And we have 400 in front of us. Not good.
Not great. Yeah.
Good.
Not good. Not what you're hoping for.
Yeah. So then they said the PLO game is open. I said, well, there's no better way to dust off $400 and go play PLO.
Well, this is where we're going to definitely agree. 100%. I don't think we're going to agree much with what goes on anywhere around. But as far as dusting off $400 in PLO, especially 5-5-10 short-handed PLO.
It's not 5-5-10 short-handed yet.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No. It's 1-3-6.
Oh, okay. Still a very good way to dust off $400.
Yeah. So, the first hand of note, I get pocket kings, single suited to the heart, right?
Okay.
And in this game, everyone raises, so it was like whatever, $30 pre-flop was every hand. I only called because 400 effective, didn't seem like it was that crazy.
Yeah, I could go with this. You basically just set mining with kings.
Yep. I completely whiff. Checks around. The turn is like 7 of hearts, completely whiffing me, right?
Okay.
Guy bets pot. It folds to me. I tell him, well, I got nothing, man. I completely missed. What I tell him, right?
Uh-huh.
I said, well, let me check, though, just in case.
Obviously, you're an expert PLO player. Yeah.
Turns out I have the second nut flush draw.
Okay.
Can't lay that down. I told him, hold on, wait a minute.
He bet pot?
Yep.
It's probably a pretty big bet, right?
It was like 130, something like that.
I mean, when you only start out 400 effective, seems like a pretty big bet.
Yeah,
okay.
like I said, I was planning on losing this 4, so
Okay.
I call. Bang the flush right on the river.
I hate you.
And then I go all in. Didn't even realize the guy only had like 75 behind. So I was not getting the odds as a call. So he just throws the 75 in, shows his nuts straight, and I get to show the rivered flush.
I bet he was super happy about that.
Yeah, that was he did not handle that well. It was pretty funny too. After I told him I have nothing, I'm just gonna fold it. And then looking down at me like, I have a draw. Call. So now I'm decently stacked here at like I had won a few, so I was like probably about 800 effective at this hand.
Okay.
I get pocket queens double suited.
Okay.
Guy makes it.
How many people are, because I think how many players are going to be usually effective on this? How many players?
Quite a few still on this one.
Okay, gotcha.
I say quite a few, like 6.
Okay, but so pocket queens double suited. The reason I say this is they're a lot stronger 6-handed than they are 9-handed.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm clarifying that for someone who's not. If any of our audience aren't huge PLO people, that's what I was trying to get to. Okay.
I was wondering. All right, so so guy makes it. Guy's raising every hand, potting every hand.
Okay.
He's about maybe 7,000 in his stack, something like that. Something ridiculous, just all the money, right?
Okay.
Like 5 or 7, something. I only call because I don't know, bad at PLO and stuff. So I call. Bunch of people call. Flop the nuts. It was like queen 8 deuce with a flush draw.
Wait, and do you have a flush draw?
No. The flop was queen 8 deuce with a flush draw available.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He bets pot as he does every hand. It had been every hand.
Okay.
I then repot it, folds back to him. He then repots it. I then go all in. So now we're all in for this like $1,600-$1,700 pot. I only go once, so we rip it and I hold.
He was obviously on a flush draw, right?
I guess he never showed.
Okay.
But I mean, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a flush draw, straight draw combo or something.
Well, that was because you could have like Jack 10 for like a gutter or something.
I mean, he no hesitation on my all in.
Okay.
Snap called. I hold. So now I'm back to. I was so stuck. I wasn't even back to even after this hand. I don't even know what happened, or how much I was negative. I might have been into the game for 2.5. I don't know. I remember thinking like, I mean, just all the money. So
all kinds of fuck it.
yeah. So I'm like counting this money. I'm like, kinda, almost. All right. So then we play another hand. Oddly, the same exact situation. I get pocket queens. Sorry, jumping around. The night wears on for a while. We go up, we go down. We end up getting 3-handed, and about 4 or 5-handed, they had switched it to 5-5-10 PLO. But then, because they got tired of making change, that's what everyone always says.
Okay.
Same game. But then they keep potting it, so now it's 50 every time pre-flop instead of 30. Felt a little different off of my poor little $1,000-something stack.
Definitely does change it up a little bit. So okay.
So then we end up going 3-handed 5-5-10 PLO. So this is just nonstop action.
Right.
And people start to realize that I'm just nut peddling, basically. So then I just start bluffing, and that was cool.
Oh, wow. That's pretty... Because there's not that many bluffs in PLO, but shorthanded, you should have some. So it sounds like your adjustment would be pretty good.
I mean, you want to talk about terrifying. Potting it in the 5-5-10 PLO game with Stone Zip.
I mean, I know you should be bluffing it. It terrifies me just thinking about it.
Yeah, 'cause like bet flop, they call them pot river, and then like, you know, whenever you say pot and they tell you how much, you're like, huh? How much? And they tell you again, and I'm like, I could have sworn what you said. That can't be. What'd you say?
Yeah, I've been the same place where I was like pot, and then they're like, I was like, huh?
Yeah, he's like, you're all in. I was like, dang. I was like, I pray to God I don't get called.
Yeah, Tyler's like, do I have to? A huge show of strength at the table when you cover your chips with your hands and you start shaking your head.
But I get some good bluffs through.
Okay.
And then I get pocket queens again. This is at like 6 a.m. And same thing. Flop the nuts with a top set on a draw heavy board. Go all in, get called, hold, end up making like $300 or $400 that night.
Which is huge considering you were down a shitload.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty amazing. Which I was glad to hear because you played a little bit of PLO, and I actually think you're pretty decent. But I think you've been on a shit side of variance for a long time, where it's like you were either like a small favorite, which is usually what you're going to be, or like 50-50, and you just like caught the wrong card so many times. So it's good to see the variance even out a little bit.
I mean, this is the first time where I was like, if you're going to pick when to run good, 1-3, run bad, 5-5-10, that's the time to run good.
5-5-10 shorthanded PLO. Not even like 5-5-10, like no limit hold'em with 9 players.
Yeah. And then I hit quads on a different session. We can get into that.
I definitely remember that one.
All right. So this happened at Champions. Me and you were playing at the same table, right?
Right.
So I guess I don't remember what you had. So we'll start. You want to say from your point of view? Because I'm in the big blind on this hand.
Yeah, it gets to the button. It folds the button. We're playing pretty short-handed here.
About 5 people.
Yeah, I have a pretty big stack. I've been running really good this night. I raised 4-5 suited on the button to like 50. It must have been like 15. Was usually my open raise at that point. I get a call from the small blind, and Tyler, obviously you call. What do you call with?
Pocket deuces. And I've not been running well this session. I'm only like 300 effective, so.
Yeah, it's and this was pretty early in your session too.
I mean, my whole session was 30 minutes, so pretty late in my 30 minutes, but yeah.
Okay. I forgot. I remember I was playing way longer than you. I don't remember exactly how little you played.
I mean, 29 minutes. I have it tracked.
So, the flop when it comes out is 2, 3, 6, flopping me the Stone Cold Nuts, and Rainbow. So this is absolutely great for me. Obviously, I don't realize you have a set here at all. The small blind then leads for a pretty big size. It was like a pot size.
And he's super deep, too.
Yeah, very deep. So it was 15, 30, 45. I think he let out for like 50.
I was going to say 65.
I think you could be right.
It was either 65 or 75, so. 'Cause I remember thinking when he bet, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, same here. He bets, you call. Now, obviously, I think of raising here, but it's a rainbow board. There's almost no card where I don't hold on to the nuts here. So once I call here, and the pot gets pretty big, and then if it leads into me again, my thought is just to really, really raise it pretty big. I don't hate this line of thinking. I still kind of think that this is the right line of thinking, especially with my hand.
Well, especially with me being so short. Like, there's no real point to squeeze me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not folding.
Yeah.
So that's why I really like it. Like, if I was deeper, I think it would make a little bit more sense. But, yeah, I agree with everything so far.
turn is one of the. Well, you tell me what's the turn?
A deuce making me quads.
Yeah. So, from my perspective, I'm not loving it, but I'm also not hating it at this point yet. Until small blind bets pretty damn big again.
Like 200 or something just over, right? It was something gigantic that put me all in.
Yeah. So when he does that and you call, well, now all of a sudden I'm like, well, I think there's a chance I'm not ahead anymore. It's like, obviously, I mean, this is a huge sign of strength, but he bets gigantic on the flop. Because he wasn't like a crazy player. He seemed to know what he was doing.
Yeah, he did not seem like he was that splashy for the 10 seconds I'd seen him play.
Yeah, so I was like, well, and when he bets that big on the flop, you call and I call behind. Huge sign of strength for him to bet the turn. Very concerning. Even more concerning is when you call, because I'm like, well, now there's two players showing just gigantic amounts of strength, and I know you are not going to be calling here with like a pocket sevens or something here. You're going to have something. But 4-5. Let's have a straight. Straight's still pretty good, especially three-handed. I make the call.
Well, especially because, like, from your point of view, you're only fading sets, right? Like, well, I guess, or two pair would be really not great, two pairs, but like, but there's no flush draw, so it's like you still should be pretty close to the nuts, other than sets, obviously.
Yeah, there's still times like I can think of maybe like it was 5-6 suited or something with a pair with a draw or something like that. I don't really know what I'm hoping, or maybe that someone is just overplaying like pocket sevens or something. But straight's still pretty good. It's one of those, but I mean, I've gotten as bad as signals as I could possibly get for flopping the nuts. I'll say that.
Yeah, I was like, Clint, you're no good anymore. You should call.
Yeah, you should call. The river was some type of blank. I don't remember.
Yeah. Check. I'm gonna check.
Did it go check? I'm shocked that he would check. And then
well, I never saw his hand, so it definitely went check.
Yeah. God, I'm starting to wonder if I was on the button. I could have sworn I acted first here.
No,
but okay,
it
somehow goes check.
You were definitely on the button.
Was I? Okay.
For sure. Yeah, because I remember when I called 100% expecting you to fold. After he dongs, I call. I was thinking like a lot of times you're going to miss, on such a flop. Whenever you're the pre-flop raiser. So I was really thought that was, thinking maybe overpair is what you might have, but when you called. Yeah,
that was kind of check. Obviously, you showed the quads.
Yeah, because they had the high hand bonus too. So, I was in a save, if you know you're good, I just turn my hand over kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you end up taking the vast majority of that pot down. I win like a tiny side pot between me and the other guy.
Oh, that's right. Because he went all in for a little bit more than me. That's right.
It was like 50. Like I won like $50. Mm-hmm. 25 of it was mine. Seems super sad for raising the button and flopping the nuts with 4-5, but whatever. This is where we're at. On the good side, I was happy for you. It was easier to be happy for you because I was having just the dreamiest of sessions. So, otherwise, you'd have got the middle finger.
You had an interesting spot. Do you have notes on that? Did you have ace king or aces when that guy jammed all in for a ton?
Well, I'll start. So we were at I ended up going to Champions. This is when I was there way before you showed up and got quads. Okay. There was a couple interesting spots. One was I had pocket sevens. I raise and then get 3-bet, like a pretty aggressive player. We were both pretty damn deep. I mean, I bought in fairly deep. He was pretty deep. So I was like, well, this is okay to call. I can set mine here. The flop was 3, 4, 5. So I flop an overpair and a straight draw. He bets like I don't think it was a huge bet. It was like a maybe half pot bet. I'm beating ace king. I'm beating all of that. I think this is a good flop for sevens, and I have a gutter to the nuts, the effective nuts. I make the call. The turn is a deuce, which is super relevant because now it makes any ace straight. The board is now 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. He bets again. I make the call. He was pretty aggressive, and I think he knows he has more aces here than I do.
Oh, I know it too, which is why I'm not sure I love this call.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I like this call, but continue.
Yeah, I thought I could still be good. I still have the straight draw, and I thought I could be good against some. In hindsight, I don't like this call either.
Yeah, I think he has ace here every time, but continue.
Well, here's the big problem. On the river, he bets big.
Trust me, this is why I'm not liking this turn.
And I fold.
Oh, wait, this was it? You didn't bang? I thought you were going to hit a 6.
No, I didn't hit a 6 here.
Oh, that's a sad story. All sorts of negative.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but a lot of my hands don't wind up in wins. But weirdly enough, he did not have an ace because it would have qualified for the high hand. So he mucks his hand. They're like, "Do you have an ace?" He's like, "Definitely don't have an ace." He's like, "It would have been the high hand." So I was actually probably good. I almost 100% was good here.
Oh yeah.
So, but again, like the turn bet, like whether you're good or not, that turn call, like what are you really hoping for here? Like I say, it was not a great turn call. I don't know what it's hard to put yourself in that exact moment what I was thinking, but I knew he was aggressive. I knew he would use this card to bluff me. But that being said, he also has a lot of aces here, even if he doesn't need it to 3-bet. So I think he kind of got in that I was passive and he was going to bully me a little bit. So I raise, but this time I have ace-king. Goes around to him, and then he makes it 90. And I made it 15, so 90 is a pretty damn big 3-bet. Comes back around to me. I have like 500 in my stack, like 5, maybe a little bit more. I just rip it.
Yeah.
It was one of those that if I 4-bet, I'm not calling here, and if I 4-bet, it just creates this weird SPR. So I was like, well, we're just gonna rip it here, and then he tanks for a while and ends up making the fold. So that kind of changed the dynamic because I mean he doesn't know that I have it. I mean, he could think that I'm just getting annoyed of his aggressiveness. It's always weird how that kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. Later, I'm in another hand with the same guy with pocket 4s, and I flop a set.
Was this the guy to your right or the guy to my left? The younger guy or the older guy, or was it the?
I don't think he was even there when you got here. Got there. Well, he was like a taller Asian guy.
No, definitely not. It sounds like this is how your stack was built. But all right, continue.
Yeah, set of 4s. He bets. I just call. It was a super dry board, so I was like, well, not going to run anything off here. The turn was a blank, which most cards were going to be. He bets. I rip it in on top of it, and he makes the call. Which he had 2 pair. He had a pretty good hand, so kind of a cooler for that guy in that spot. But ended up winning that one. Had several hands where it was. There's another one where I have king queen. I flop a queen high, and then I bet, get called. I bet again, and it calls. And it's like a lot of straightening cards. It's like queen, 4, 5. I think like it becomes like a 7 on the turn. And then the river is an ace. And there was a flush draw that did brick. He bets really big. He bets like 250. And I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to get here with an ace. So I think he was at this point, I think sometimes he has nothing. I make the call and he has nothing. He had ended up turning like a bottom pair into a bluff or something. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of hands where it was just very, very good, getting very, very good cards. And once we got shorthanded, it kept getting good cards, and you know how kind of that is. It even multiplies because you're playing that many more hands. Got kings. Had flop kings. It was like 2, 4, 5. I bet small. Get jammed on for $350. I call. It was the kind of the wild Russian guy. He has nothing. So just a lot of just getting good cards and kind of and having them hold. It's amazing what that'll do to a stack.
Yeah. What about that big hand that you play, that ace king hand?
Oh God.
Or do I have the notes on you? I think if not, we'll get the note. I have some good hands right here for us to go over too that I have the notes on. So
that hand was a gigantic hand. I'm trying to think of what the.
It's fine. I got it.
Yeah, go on yours. Yeah, go on your. Go ahead and go on yours.
Yeah, there's some that hands that are like so good that I feel like you got to find the notes somewhere wherever we have them. So
yeah, I might. I think I do have some like audio notes. I might save that for next podcast.
I think you text them to me. So next podcast we'll look it up. I'm like 90% sure you text them to me.
Gotcha.
Well, maybe not. 'Cause it was like close to the end of the session, but we'll still check. But here I got some interesting hands for you about my session last night.
Nice.
So my first thing is I played 2 hands so pathetically, lost money, standard. So then this was my first big hand. So I'm in the big blind. Sorry. I'm in the button straddle with king 7 of hearts. I kind of mix up raising the suited kings out of the straddle because I kind of don't mind that much as kind of like that weaker kind of hand that you can play in position.
Okay, I like that.
This time I just flat.
Okay.
Tons of people see this flop, right? The flop but everyone limped. So the flop comes ace of hearts, 10 of hearts, jack of diamonds. What are you thinking here?
Okay, so you flop the nut flush draw with a gutter ball.
Yes. And
what position are you in again?
Button.
And it checks all the way around to you?
No. Oh, sorry. This is where it gets crazy. Checks all the way around to me. I bet 15. I get 3 callers, and then a guy raises to 55.
I guess I just call here.
So I debate, and then I think, well, I've seen this guy making moves before, and I have a lot of equity, but not much showdown right now. I block the nuts, holding the king. I have a draw to the nut flush, and I have a gutter. That's what I'm thinking. You agree with all this?
I love all your reasoning. All your reasoning is super sound here.
And then I think, well, the real move would be to raise, I think, and raise big.
I kind of like where your head's at now.
I make it 225.
Okay.
Folds back to him. He folds an ace face up. I show him the 7 of hearts.
Kind of weird that he checked the ace.
Super weird. I mean, that other guy flatted aces behind me in a different session. So there's just all sorts of weird stuff.
There is a lot of weird stuff. But I love how you played this hand. I love the fact that you brought up that you were blocking the nuts because I think that's super relevant here when you make this move. Mm-hmm. Like I say, you had a ton of equity. I usually, when there's a lot of action, since I'm getting better odds to draw, I'm more likely, and I've got to make it through more people. Although all these people have shown weakness. I like everything about how you played this hand. The more I think about it, the more you have more and more reasons to raise here.
So this hand, this is basically the session defining hand because it leads to tilt and just sadness. But I'm in the small blind with ace 8 of clubs. Okay, let's see. Okay. I'm checking my notes because I didn't write the first part, but I know I flatted out of the small blind, which I don't know if I like that much. The whole table's limping. But every time I raise, I get called. And I keep raising big. I keep making it like 30. And all these people for $3 and $6 are calling my 30, 35. And I'm seeing every flop like, I mean, just these gigantic inflated pots, right?
This can be really tough because it's great in the long run because these people are playing with worse cards and you're going to be super profitable. You just don't have to win that often. But in the short run, it can be a session killer because you're missing. I mean, like you say, if all these, $30 and $40 at a time, and you're missing flop after flop, and it's multi-way, it's not much you can do about it.
Right. So I'm not doing great in the session, but I just flat big blind checks. The flop comes. Let me see if I have the flop on here. No, I was too annoyed. But I flopped. If a 7 gives me open-ended with my 8, so it must have been
5-6.
Yeah, 5-6. Yeah. 2 clubs.
Okay, so most likely you have the nut flush draw, an overcard, and a backdoor straight draw.
Correct.
Okay.
I check in the small blind. It checks around.
You didn't... Okay, this was a limp pot, right?
Yes.
You didn't think of betting here?
Thought about it, but again, I was like, well...
Is your idea to check raise?
My ideas were just, all off the table. My thought at first was to check call was my first thought on this one, just because, I don't know, I was horribly stuck at the time and was not thinking, apparently.
Okay, well, it's a line.
That's the line.
Yeah, it's a line, so we can go with it.
7 of clubs on the turn.
God dang, what a turn.
Okay, obvious bet. So I bet 25, which is a big bet in a limped pot.
Oh, 100%. Well, and I do like this because most people are going to think you're going to bet a flush draw here,
that's
too.
That's kind of the... Because I've gotten a lot of people calling saying that you would bet the flush draw, but...
Yeah.
I bet 25. Guy to my left calls, big blind calls. Folds around to guy in the hijack. He calls. Everyone else folds. 3 ways. The turn pairs the 3. It's the 3 of diamonds. So now the board is paired. No longer have the nuts.
Right.
I still think I'm good here a lot of the time, though.
I think you're good here almost every time here because there was no action on the flop whatsoever. The turn, no action real. You got calls, but we're going to go ahead and say most sets and 2 pairs are going to raise. Or, well, still, I think sets would play this differently, and 2 pairs maybe if they hit that second pair on the turn might be hesitant, but with no action on the flop, I think sometimes you get a raise. I definitely think I'm still good here at this point.
So I bet pretty big. I bet 75.
Okay.
I get raised to 175. Don't like that.
Don't love it.
He then gets re-raised to 400. Don't like that.
Don't love that.
That puts me all in at basically 400. Don't like that. So I fold in disgust. The guy who raised me shows king 4 of clubs for the second nuts. It says he can't believe how unlucky he is, and then calls, and the guy had 6-3 for a rivered boat.
Might be one of the strangest played hands I've seen. I don't know. You've really brought out some strangely played hands this podcast. So, was it? Did the turn and river come 3-3? Is that what happened? No, it was a 7.
The guy flopped 3-6 for 2 pair on the flop.
I don't know. I have no idea because for this to happen, so you have to. Both the nut flush draw were flopped, the second nut flush draw was flopped, and 2 pair was flopped, in a multi-way pot, and it checked around.
Correct.
The turn, you make the nut flush. Guy makes a second nut flush. Other guy still has 2 pair. You bet small, and it just gets
I bet
called
pretty
both
big.
ways.
I bet pretty
Oh,
big.
did you bet big?
Yeah, I bet pretty big. I mean, 25. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's big compared to the pot.
I mean, yeah, okay, I guess, but 20. Like, there's a difference between a pot size bet when the pot is 600 and a pot size bet when the pot is 20. I definitely think King 7 suited, when they turn the nut flush draw, I would think they'd be trying to get more than $25 in that pot.
Oh no, 100%. Oh no, I thought you meant. I mean, I couldn't bet like 100 into $20.
No, I get what you're saying. It's like still percentage, but still weird that this flush does not raise here.
Oh,
no,
that's
it's just the weirdest.
That's super weird. No, but I was just saying, like, I couldn't. I mean, my bet was pretty big compared to the. Like, I don't think I could bet much more than that.
Oh, I mean, your bet was normal. It's just like how the action was going, because it was a small bet compared to like what the action was going to been. Yeah.
But then him not raising really hurt, and then the guy with 2 pair tanks forever, and then calls.
I mean, I don't know how, like, the flop actions to me definitely the weirdest. I don't know how in a multi-way pot, the nut flush, second nut flush draw, and 2 pair, all of that happens and there's no raise. Super weird.
No bet even.
Yeah. And now the river starts to make sense. Like all that makes sense. Like, I'm 100% in betting that river. I think you're playing way too passively and losing way too much value if you're ever checking that river there. The fact that you ran into these hands ceases to matter. King 7 of clubs. Really, there's been no action to make anybody think that there would ever be a boat here. I think his play makes sense. And now 6-3 now makes sense now. So it's like the river played normal, but getting all the way up to the river was such a weird line for literally everybody in the hand at that table.
Yeah, but that was a sad one to lose for sure. And then my last hand, I was in like under the gun +1 or something like that. I had pocket queens. I make it 15. Guy raises me to 75 or whatever, 50, 60, something like that. I re-raised to 250. No, and vice versa. Sorry, he made it 15. I made it 75. He re-raised to 250. I go all in for 500. He has pocket kings. I lose. And I almost folded on his 4-bet there. And I think you said you didn't mind it as much. But I really think whenever you call being like, well, I'm just going to lose this to aces or king. Like, I don't know. I mean, it seems really weird to put in 75, get bet to 255, go all in for like 480 or whatever. And then as soon as he shows kings, I'm like, knew it, and walk off broke. That seems so weird to me.
Well, I will say this. Like, when it was worded in the text message, it said lost 1,000, and I didn't know if it was all in this hand. Because I think if you just get it all in for 1,000 at a 1-3, this is a disaster for
right.
on this. So I was saying, like, I don't mind it as much for the like smaller amount. Like that you said it was negative 1,000 for the total session, not in that hand. I didn't mind it as much.
It's a tough spot, but I almost folded, man. I was so close. And then I was like, the tilt from that ace king or the ace 4 or ace 8 of clubs hand, I was like, wow, I mean, this is just so fitting. And then I just go all in, and he's like, kings. I'm like, of course. Literally, of course. I mean, saw this from a mile away. Still paid it off. But, I mean, of course. I mean, who's 5-betting with ace king other than me? So...
yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's like, it's very... like, this is one of those, like, GTO, like, you definitely call here because people have all these bluffs and all that, but at 1-3 is the vast majority of people don't even play Ace King this way. Because if you think Ace King is available, I think you have to call.
I mean, here's the real killer, which is, I mean, even more tilting to just making a bad decision, is the player was so tight, didn't even know he was on the table. I mean, that's how few hands he was playing.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I mean, like I said, I know that, I mean, this was just like a tilted call, but I was like, ugh, I don't know. I thought that was just such a disaster. I mean, put it this way. Whenever he showed kings, I thought that was pretty light for him. So
I was like, I figured it was aces.
yeah, but again, why am I mean, I don't know. It seems super weird to call this off, other than just tilt bad play. But
yeah, it's agreed. Like I say, it's very player dependent. If you think it's somebody who can do this with Ace King, then I think it's a call. But a lot of 1-3 players are never going to play Ace King this way because you were he 4-bet.
I raised, he 3-bet.
Then you 4-bet.
No, sorry, I said it wrong twice. Jeez, he raised, I 3-bet, he 4-bet, I 5-bet jammed.
That was 4 bets at these 1-3 tables. Pretty strong. I don't know. It's a
not good. Definitely hate to see that.
Yeah.
But, oh man, I have one crazy hand for you to end this on.
Okay.
Crazy hand. It's a PLO hand. We're playing shorthanded. It's not the 5-5-10 PLO. It's just the regular 1-3. We're shorthanded. And there's this one guy who definitely a character at the table. You know, trying to make moves, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. I get suited kings. Might have been double suited. Don't remember. But I said, well, last time I played this hand like this same session, I lost because I folded pre-flop pocket king or PLO king, suited kings. And it would have been versus aces, and I would have flopped a set, and I would have been so rich, and I'd be somewhere else instead of at the poker table crying. But I folded that hand.
Oh, hold on real quick, because I think I remember you texting this hand. This is going to be huge, I think. You'd suited kings. You have an ace in your hand, right?
Yeah, I have ace, king, like queen or jack.
Okay.
Something like that. A really good hand. So he makes it 15. I pot it. And it was a lot. It was like $100 or $90, something like that. He calls. We're going heads up.
Okay.
The flop is king 8-8. It's on me. I check. I try to put on my looking disgusted face.
Okay.
He checks behind me. The turn is a 4. You know, bringing in like a flush draw, but seems irrelevant at the time for 100 pre-flop. That, you know,
definitely seems.
I check it over to him again. He bets 100. I raise to 250. He then snap goes all in for like 600 or 700.
Okay.
I call. River's an ace. That's concerning. I'm good with the kings. He says well played, shows pocket 4s. He turned a boat.
God, what a great check by you on the flop. I mean, obviously he's results oriented, but I'll tell you what, in this moment, great check.
But when we love the results, we love the play.
Yeah.
And then when the strangest turn of events, the player sits there and weeps at the table after losing his money.
Holy shit.
It's very awkward.
Sounds super awkward.
Then he leaves, but he forgot his stuff, so he had to come back. That was awkward too. And then everyone at the table said, well, time for us to go now that he lost all his money. I told myself, we should at least wait for him to drive away before the game breaks.
Obviously, he was just like the player who was splashing around the most, right?
Yes, but I mean, the two guys at the table were, one was super deep, the other one was not, but they were friends. They were not really going after each other that much.
Okay.
It was me and that other guy who were both pretty deep, and then someone else who was pretty short stacked. So obviously the guy who was even deeper than me was like, I mean, it's just me, you, and my friend, and someone else with like, a few $100. He's like, I'm out.
Oh, okay, so not really that this guy left. It was more just like the dynamics at that point. Like it would just got shorthanded.
Well, it's kind of like if
it was just the game break type.
Well, it's like if me and you are at a table and it goes to 3-handed or 4-handed.
Right.
And if we're not like, if you get a good hand card and I get good cards, but you're only going to make $8, it seems like it's not worth playing that much anymore.
It's super. Yeah, absolutely.
So the game breaks there, and I end up having a pretty profitable session, like $700 or something.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought that was a crazy hand though.
That's pretty definitely. It seems like your PLO game just killing it lately.
I mean, literally doing nothing but running good.
Well, I tell you what, that's the biggest. I don't know a lot of PLO strategy. I know that's the most important thing in PLO.
yeah. I mean, how I'm playing, literally the same as always. Like someone who has never studied, but running great, flopping nuts and holding. So,
well, in the first part, you're a moron. Now you're a genius.
Yeah, I mean, it's like not even just like flopping nuts, like flopping like crazy nuts, like kings full of eights, like just, so that's always good. But,
loving it.
I guess on that note, this concludes the Texas Poker Podcast. Talk to you next week.
That was the Texas Poker Podcast. Go ahead and rack up, add time, and we'll see you next week.